Just because you give money to a politician does not mean you own them. One of the popular things you see in media is, oh, you see a big donor donating to someone like Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, and it's assumed that they are now owned by this lobby. Specifically, I'll see people talk about how the Adelson family gave a bunch of money to Donald Trump, so now he's owned by Israel. Or they'll talk about how Kamala Harris just accepted a huge donation from Larry Ellison or the CEO of Netflix or some big tech billionaire, and so how Silicon Valley is controlling her strings. But that is not always the case, and I'm going to give you a brief example of local politics here in the city that I live in and use that as an example to prove that sometimes the power is actually in the politician's hand, not in the donors. So you had a local mayor's race here in the city that I live in, and you had the incumbent who was a Democrat, and you had someone running against him who was a Republican. Now you had a big land developer who was donating a bunch of money to the Republican candidate to obviously unseat and replace the Democratic mayor. What happened was that real estate guy gave the Republican, let's just say $50,000. When the Democratic mayor found out that this real estate developer was donating to the Republican, he called him up and essentially said something along the lines of,
"If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Hey, if you don't give my campaign 3 times the amount of money you gave the Republican, the deals that you have with the city are dead and we will never work with you again." So guess what that real estate developer did? He gave 3 times the amount of money to the Democratic donor. That's the game of politics. Sometimes, and it especially works in the American system, the political figure is so powerful and so popular that people give them money, 1, not to just be a target, 2, to hedge their bets, and 3, because they have to. Because if you want to be politically involved in the process, you might not have an option. So someone like a Sheldon Adelson might actually really dislike someone like Donald Trump. They might hate his Middle East policy, but they have no allies on the Democratic side. The Democrats already have their big donors and already have their big funders for what they want as far as national policy goes. And maybe they even have their own Israel agenda. So if you're someone like the Adelson family, Trump is your only option. And if you don't give him money, then you're completely left out of the conversation. So money does not always dictate ownership. Money is a vehicle for influence, not necessarily power. Influence can lead to power, but there's a difference between power and influence. Influence can try to get you to push the button, but power is the person who is at the end of the day pushing the actual button.